Great, thanks, and hi everyone. It's lovely to be here with you today. And as you can see, I'm strongly backed up both by colleagues at the embassy here, by colleagues at the embassy, at the Bangladeshi embassy in Stockholm, and also our colleague from the Ministry for Foreign Affairs in Stockholm. So together, I think we will be able to answer the question might have for us today, but this is also and above all a platform for connecting and a platform for sharing experience, and in that sense we are also very keen and interested in hearing your thoughts and your reflections. So when we last met in this format in February, things looked a little bit brighter regarding the COVID situation in South Asia. And since then, as you know, it has been somewhat of a roller coaster. We have had a massive wave of the pandemic hitting the region with an epicenter in India. And in Bangladesh, who went through the biggest wave so far in April, we are increasingly concerned about the spillover effects of the new Indian Delta virus. But with that, today's topic is very interesting. It's about opportunities in Bangladesh regarding green and sustainable business. And during my first year here, I am happy to have seen that this topic is raised more and more, and that there is an increasing interest for Swedish solutions. And as you might know, the interest in sustainability is rather broad and spans many sectors of the Bangladesh economy. You all know that Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, perhaps the fastest, with a high and consistent growth rate over the last decade. Global demands for Bangladeshi products are central to driving the country's impressive economic development forward. But with that, there is also a clear need and an increasing understanding of the need for green transformation. And this is especially apparent in the garment sector, which accounts for about 85% of the country's export. There is a growing demand for sustainability and ethnically manufactured garments, especially in Europe, which is, of course, the largest market for Bangladeshi exports. So there's a need for the garment and textile industries to undergo a green transition in order to remain competitive long-term on a global market that needs to go sustainable. Energy and water efficient solutions are likely to be in very high demand over the coming years. Another major area in need of green transformation in Bangladesh is the power sector. A new study by Standard Chartered shows that Bangladesh is at risk of losing 18.7 billion USD by 2025 if its exporters do not rein in on carbon emissions. This is because nearly 80% of multinational companies plan to remove suppliers that endanger their carbon emission plans. Furthermore, Bangladesh has recently taken the very positive step in announcing the target of having 40% renewables in the energy mix by 2041. That's a really ambitious target, and it's up from low levels today. Most likely candidate, as we can see today, is solar power, and maybe more specifically rooftop solar installations for industrial complexes in Dhaka and in Greater Dhaka and beyond. A third area that I would want to touch upon briefly is circularity in the economy and waste to energy management. Recycling, waste management, and waste to energy solutions are becoming an increasing part of the sustainability discussion in Bangladesh. Waste, ever increasing by the expanding industry and growing consumer market, is scarcely used as a resource today, although the potential in the country is huge, especially for smaller scale waste to energy installations. So in the coming years, we hope that the demand that there will be an increasing demand and that is likely from both municipal administrations and companies. From the embassy side, we are looking to support Bangladesh in its green transition through several ways. The need to go sustainable is frequently brought up in the political dialogue with Bangladesh counterparts, both in our bilateral dialogue but also with the EU. Let me give you 2 examples on how we work on this. So we had a window in the first half of this spring when we managed to squeeze in a minister visit in the form of our Minister of International Development Cooperation, Per Olsson Frid. It was his first visit abroad. And in meetings with Bangladeshi counterparts that included the foreign minister, the minister of finance, and the prime minister, he highlighted not only the importance of a good business climate, respect for the rule of law, as well as anti-corruption measures, but also he underlined the need for sustainable business and the green aspects of sustainability. In short, the importance of greener industry to increase market advantages and build back greener. A second example is that we are partnering with Swedish and European companies in this regard to bring forward a joint message to our Bangladeshi counterparts. As I might have mentioned last time, we have a recurrent annual EU-Bangladesh business climate dialogue. And in this year's dialogue, we hope to introduce a new track, a Green Business track that we have initiated together with Germany and companies from both of our countries. This also connects to our broader work to increase market access in Bangladesh and support the country in improving its business climate. In the area of trade promotion, we work closely with Swedish textile companies, as well as Business Sweden, SBBC, and the Nordic Chamber in Dhaka, all of them represented here today, to find ways to lower the threshold for Swedish green tech companies looking to marketing their products in Bangladesh, both in general and for the textile industry. So just as Bangladesh is one of the fastest growing economies around, it's also one of the fastest economies recovering from the impact of COVID-19, as it looks like right now. And as the Bangladesh economy returns to its upward trend, I believe that Swedish companies are well placed to provide the technology and the know-how for Bangladesh to build back both better and greener. I think that's my intervention for now, and I'll hand over to you, Ms. Sanur.
Thank you so much, Excellency. What I hear after 1 year your time in Bangladesh, you have already knocking the right doors where Swedish technology comes in. I honestly follow your activities through Twitter or activities. I see that this is the area, one of the area is the G-related areas where you mentioned water sector for the garments, the green energies, even academic, you mentioned last time, that there are many ways we are ready actually to come to Bangladesh and doing things. And your dialogue with this bilateral and political is going on. I also know you and your European friends, at least Nordic countries, ambassadors also pushing easy doing business activities with the BIDA, which was seen. So we really appreciate your all contribution for this relation, at least from business point of view. Thank you so much. I'm sure the question will come up later on. Thanks again with that. By that, I will going back to the market. Friends, I must say that even you know that Business Sweden is the only unique organization we have from Sweden. And what it does, you know that, door opening, telling us what to go, not to go, what we'll buy on our fingers, so where we can do better business. They're everywhere in the world. They have better knowledge. There's a better way they can help us out. We can take that information as much as we can and work it on. That's why Business Sweden is a very important partner to us. not only that, Business Sweden also a member of our board. That the idea with that Sweden Bangladesh Business Council can really bring in technologies knowledge as much as we can to Bangladesh. By that, I will request Anders Tofte, and he has been doing this business in India from Delhi, all big businesses he's doing, and his team to give us the flavor of trends on the market. Anders, is your floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Noor, and thank you so much for the kind words. Ambassador, dear friends, Business Sweden, as you know, we are appointed directly from the Swedish government and the Swedish industries and businesses, and we have one mission: help Swedish companies to grow their export and be bigger and better international in the business. So we have a diplomatic mission and we have business development mission, represented in 44 countries, and in Southeast Asia, of course, India is the biggest one, but Bangladesh is number 2 for us. Today, I will frame it a little bit, then I will hand over to my team, who will talk about the really interesting topics that we are running right now. And I want you to listen carefully, because other areas, our businesses, our industries could be part or could open up similar platforms. But I will start to frame it a little bit with this one. I don't know if you can see this now.
We saw it.
Can you see it?
Now I see the blue screen only.
Okay, that is not good.
Now I see.
Okay. So there's 3 things that I think we all know will happen in the future. First of all, vaccination. This is the most important part to go back to something that looks like normal. We need to start the vaccination programs. We need to take part of them. We need to care of all our employees and everyone around. I think that we will be struggling also during the autumn. There is, for example, a ban or a stop of export of vaccines from India that will affect Bangladesh. But please, vaccination is the step to open up everything in the future. So if you don't have been vaccinated, or if you would like to have vaccination camps, or if you would like to run it in your industries, take a step forward. Second one, and this is interesting, the new golden 20s. 100 years ago, nearly exactly 100 years ago, the Spanish flu finished, and there was 10 years of fantastic business around the globe. It's ended up in a huge inflation crash, and that will not happen because we have today tools to handle that. But what everyone says around the world is that the new golden 20s will happen. Now the good things. There are 3 paths, and all of them are excellent. First path, do nothing. The business and the demand will be there. So if you do nothing, the business will grow. You will have new clients. You will have better in everything. But even better, do something, and it will be even better. And if you look into your business model that you have today, you do some small changes. You look into the sourcing or what you can do for expand, or if you can do other things, new customers, you will be even better. But the best thing is, if you really look into your business model that you have today, and if you look at what's happened around the world and the new era of sustainability and sustainability business models, then you will succeed over time. And that is something we would like to discuss here today, because that's the path for really success. Sustainability and sustainable business and business models. And that leads us into new thinking. Today we will show you a case that we have been run for a long time together with the embassy, together with Sweden, Bangladesh Business Council, and together with lots of your companies. And that is sustainable fashion by Sweden in Bangladesh. We are ready with the first step, and we are now moving into the next step. And my team with Pavan Talani will present this for you. But before I hand over to Pavan, I will just mention that we have a director for South Asia. His name is Ajay Saxdeva. He's responsible for frontier markets. And if you would like to grow your business, if you would like to have help with anything, please reach out to Ajay, Pavan, or me, and we will help. All right, Pavan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anders, for the introduction. And let me start with sharing my screen. Just give me a second. Let me know once you guys are able to see the presentation.
Yes.
Perfect. Good. So as Anders mentioned, I mean, sustainability is going to be the key for all the businesses, and especially for the countries in South Asia, which are the major sourcing hubs. This is going to be the most critical component of the business model. What we did was, together with the Embassy of Sweden earlier, towards the end of last year, we started on discussing about, is there any kind of support which the Team Sweden can provide in cooperation with brands and their suppliers to make the RNG sector, the ready-made garment sector, more competitive for Bangladesh. So with that mindset in place, we started looking into the current situation and started assessing what has been the key driving factors for Bangladesh RNG sector. What is the kind of current situation in terms of Sweden's presence in Bangladesh? How critical is Bangladesh from Swedish brands' point of view? And what we also looked into is, the kind of changes, the kind of happening in a global scenario. The customers getting more educated, the sourcing policies getting stricter. So from that perspective, that has been kind of putting a lot of pressure on the local suppliers to start looking into possibilities of greening their supply chain. With that in mind, we started looking into a lot of challenges. What are the key challenges which the suppliers are facing? And with the help of the brands, as we kind of reached out to a number of suppliers, we had a detailed discussions with them. And from that discussion, what we figured out is, the suppliers have already been implementing a lot of measures, but there is a chance to do a lot more. And there are a lot of areas, energy, water, waste, are the three key areas where Sweden can do a lot more. Our Swedish solution providers can work closely with the Bangladeshi entrepreneurs to improve their supply chains, to ensure that they have much greener supply chains, and to ensure that they remain competitive as compared to other emerging sourcing destinations like, say, Vietnam and Philippines, and also, say, India also. So from that perspective, we also looked into the possible areas of intervention where the Swedish solution providers can share their expertise with, and we also then looked into how we can, as Team Sweden, support this whole process. So this study was a pre-feasibility part, and I'll present some key findings here, and we also will be discussing the next step. We already setting up the meetings with brands to get them on board, to share the findings with them in detail, and to get them on board. And once we have the brands on board, we also discuss with few agencies as well as few teams and actors like SBBC. And then once we have the whole ecosystem focusing on one goal, we will then start reaching out to different technology providers. I am very happy to see, say Affectors and Comsys companies we already have been working a lot in India, and part of our established platforms in India. So they Bangladesh is the next possible venue for them, and then they are the one who are really helping the Indian industries becoming more energy efficient, becoming more competitive, and they can really work closely with the Bangladeshi suppliers and then helping them in becoming more competitive. So with that in mind, we started with the whole process. We conducted close to 30 interviews, including brands, suppliers, a lot of financial institutions, a lot of local experts also, including universities, to understand the real challenges and what can be the possible areas of intervention from Team Sweden side. So starting with a bit on just covering a bit on the background. I mean, Bangladesh has been a very critical destination for Swedish brands, and Swedish brands have a very strong presence in Bangladesh. And it's very critical from sourcing point of view. H&M, IKEA, Kapal have very established teams in Bangladesh, and there, I mean, in totality there was around export of around close to 5.7. I mean, you can say 4 to 6 billion Swedish crowns of goods are exported only to Sweden. But then these companies are sourcing for the global markets. So in totality, Bangladesh is very critical, and they account a majority of percentage of RNG exports are coming from Bangladesh. For Bangladesh, also Sweden are also becoming very critical, where the sourcing from Swedish brands account for close to 10% of total apparel exports. So you can see the interdependency of both countries, and we see that there is a chance of doing a lot of initiative and a lot of intervention into this area. What we realized was, the COVID has definitely impacted the overall business situation. But what has been happening is there are a number of external and internal factors, starting with changing, emerging of green consumers across the globe. The consumers today are more educated. They are digitally connected. They understand about the impact on environment being caused by various products and services they are consuming, and they have been pushing all the brands and suppliers to adopt greener measures. As well as there are changing regulations in key markets. I mean, European Union, it's getting stricter day by day with regards to sourcing from Bangladesh and then from other countries. They have been laying very strong framework for brands to comply, and in turn the brands are putting stronger requirements with the suppliers. So a lot of pressure is coming from outside the market, but there is a lot of pressure coming internally also. Bangladesh, though it's surrounded, let's say Dhaka is surrounded by 3 rivers, but there is a lot of dependency on groundwater. There is a depletion of, say, 3 meters per year in terms of groundwater levels in Dhaka and around surrounding areas, and which is leading to a lot of resource constraints. And also the brands, in order to in line with Sweden's leading position as a sustainable country, the brands have been maintaining very high standards in terms of requirements from their suppliers, pushing their suppliers continuously to comply with internal programs, internal policies to ensure that their carbon footprint is going down. All the major brands have announced their plans to become carbon neutral by 2030, 2035. So in a way, their supply chains need also to be green. So this is coming from that perspective that from external factors, from internal factors, there is a strong push towards the suppliers to go green and to look into more sustainable supply chains. So what has been happening is there are around 4,600 factories in Bangladesh, and a number of factories have already taken up initiatives to become green. Around 125 factories in Bangladesh are LEED certified, which is the highest in the world. And a lot of things are happening. They're already looking into advanced concept like zero liquid discharge or usage of natural gas boilers. They already replaced coal boilers. They're already looking into adopting solar panels, looking into using energy efficiency measures, looking and working with different companies to look into waste problem. But there is a lot which can be done, starting with, say, a bit into energy area when we kind of discuss with various suppliers, various experts. There is a lot which is already happening. The movement from coal to natural gas is a fundamental change in the RNG sector. The majority of boilers are running on natural gas now, but this gas is subsidized by the Bangladeshi government. They definitely need better solutions, which Sweden can come back with. The out of total energy consumed in, say, Bangladesh, 30% is consumed by the ready-made garment sector. So this is something which is leading to an area where Sweden can directly intervene. there are high greenhouse gas emissions. The amount, as per one of the studies, the RMG sector in Bangladesh contributes to around 2 billion tons of CO2 emissions annually, which is something the brands is looking into very carefully, how they can help Bangladesh in reducing these greenhouse gas emissions. There are areas like the supply, the movement of raw material from ports towards the RMG factories, plus the movement of the produced goods to the ports is totally dependent on fossil fuel based vehicles. So another area of intervention which our solution providers can play an important role. There are frequent power outages happening. As of now, there's a bit of a dependency on imports from India, and then of course there are a couple of plants in Bangladesh also. But what has been happening is there are a bit of unreliability factor is there. So that's what the companies would like to improve on, and there is a lack of awareness about the complete economical and social cost of using fossil fuels and energy intensive solutions. So when we spoke to suppliers, they definitely have been looking into European products. They have been using European technologies, and they are very focused on maintaining their quality level. So that's why they are very keen on looking into Swedish technologies, Swedish partners, and they would definitely like to look into advanced renewable energy efficient solutions from Sweden. They would like to understand more about the best practices regarding energy efficiency and renewable energy deployment, and they are definitely looking into the Team Sweden support into a bit into green policy measures which can be adopted, and then there should be a push around incentivizing the supplier that are adopting these kind of measures. So definitely support kind of intervention required at the supplier level as well as governmental level, where Sweden can play an important role. Moving ahead in terms of water conservation, another area which is where highly involved with RMG sector. So the sector, there are around 15 billion liters of water which is consumed by factories in Bangladesh, and a lot of this is being consumed by RMG sector. The sector is also among the top 3 originators of industrial pollution towards water. So it's leading to a lot of wastewater. Though the sectors have been working on chemicals, they have been adopting green chemicals. They've been using green chemicals, but a lot of work needs to be done, especially on the effluent treatment side. There is a lot of there's a bigger issue of effluent directly getting released into water sources. The effluent which is mixed with say oil, grease, and other kind of chemicals, which they need help with. The problem is very much prevalent, especially in areas which are outside the municipal zones. Areas inside the municipal zone, they have kind of a centralized ETP effluent treatment plant, which are usually used. But the areas outside the factories outside these zones are having major issue with effluents. So another area which where Sweden can really intervene. Our agencies like Stockholm Water Institute have run very good program in India with the Tirupur textile cluster. Learnings can be taken from there, can be customized as per Bangladeshi requirements, and definitely can be implemented here. So a very strong requirement of knowledge sharing, capacity building with regards to advanced concepts like zero liquid discharge. A very important focus area from key brands, H&M, IKEA, Kapal. They all have been talking about this concept. There's a lot of talk about how they can recharge the groundwater. There's an annual decline of 3 meters per year in terms of groundwater, and how they can manage what advanced ETP technologies can be used. Can it be ozone based? Can it be other technologies based? Something which Sweden can definitely contribute with. So and of course, as similar to energy sector, there is a requirement to incentivize the companies who are adopting these measures, and supporting Bangladesh with developing a favorable policy framework, which requires government-to-government intervention also. And going ahead with then the third area which came out was waste recycling and circular economy, which Ambassador touched earlier a bit. So in terms of waste, if we talk about we are looking into an industry which is generating around 400,000 tons of end waste, textile waste, and since they lack large scale recycling plants, I mean, majority of this waste is either sent to India for recycling or sent to other countries. So this is leading to a lot of fabric waste, a lot of textile waste, which can definitely be reused through the circular economy measures, where Sweden has strong expertise in. The leading brands H&M, Gnet Record, in collaboration with a number of companies in Sweden, they have launched a global initiative of circular economy, promoting circular economy. There are companies who can already use the RMGs, the ready-made garments, convert them back into cellulose, and that cellulose is an inherent part of the textile industry. I mean, Sweden has recently opened the first plant for automatic sorting of RMG waste, something which Bangladesh can definitely look into and can adopt from Sweden. So this is something, another area where Sweden can intervene, and using advanced waste management technologies, sorting technologies, recycling solutions, which are relevant for textile industry, which are relevant for RNG industry in Bangladesh, and there are requirement of a lot of awareness generation and capacity building into this area, and ensuring that there's a requirement of to reduce requirement of new resources, also to reduce pressure on the existing supply chains. Something that definitely Bangladesh is looking forward to Sweden to support with. Then of course there were another area which was highlighted on a general side, including lack of common standards, sustainability standards and policy framework. Different brands, different policy framework, different requirements. So the suppliers have to comply with a number of standards and requirements. So that limits them to be eligible to supply to another brands in case required to. And especially at the subcontractor level, whenever the tier 1 suppliers are very much compliant, but there is a lot of outsourcing to, say, subcontractors or tier 2 suppliers. That's where there's a compliance issues there. So there has to be a comprehensive program looking into how Sweden can help with the compliance at this level. There are, of course, the lack of funding is in terms of setting up pilots, in terms of undertaking research work is there. So something which we are looking to agencies to help us with having some sort of research funding, some sort of pilot funding, and then of course there is some issue of corruption and bureaucracy. It's a developing country, so it has its own sets of problems. So definitely Sweden can help into a lot of areas. So what we managed to conclude based on these discussions and these areas is developing a kind of a sustainable fashion by Sweden platform, which will try to bring in a different kind of ecosystem partners into place. These partners definitely includes regulators, both Bangladeshi as well as Swedish regulators, for them to start sharing expertise, discuss on policy matters, financial organizations who are ecosystem partners, but are willing to support. There are dedicated programs by, say, World Bank or Asian Development Bank, but to make sure that these finances are available to the requisite suppliers, this platform can play an important role. I mean, and then it's very critical to have brands as part of it, and the sourcing companies as well as the suppliers as part of this. We also have the technology providers as part of this, where this is where we see them bringing new solutions, identifying the needs, customized solutions as per their needs, defining project proposals. These project proposals can definitely be taken to the financing agencies for supporting with the finance, and that's how we touch base with around 17 financing agencies, including ADB, ITCOL, and then World Bank, Strat Fund, to ensure that they are aware of this initiative. They are providing their inputs on this. So there is kind of work which is already being done by the platform. So together, this platform will focus on putting all these puzzles, all these pieces of puzzles together, and then ensure that we are kind of able to support in greening the supply chain in a manner, and Bangladesh, helping Bangladesh in remaining a leading sourcing destination. So this is what we have done in the feasibility part. So what we see is the platform can focus on two key focus areas. In the short term, the platform can start with accelerating adoption of green solutions, identifying first of all starting with say a bit of workshops between suppliers and the technology providers from Sweden, and connecting them together for them to take up discussion, the technology suppliers will showcase what solutions they have. The suppliers of the brands can talk about the problems they are facing, and putting them together to discuss problems and identifying possible areas where they can work together, probably coming out with some pilot proposals, some project proposals, which then can be put forward to the financing agencies through another workshop with them. So the financing agencies will receive dedicated selected project proposals which are suitable to local needs and which are helping in improving the sustainability quotient. So their green funds can be leveraged to provide this kind of funding support to the project proposals. And the long term focusing a lot on capacity building and knowledge sharing, developing kind of working with brands and expert agencies to develop first of all agreeing on some common key challenge areas. Then together with them, we'll start work towards developing a minimal common standard. That's where we see a lot of intervention coming in from expert agencies and brands, and also looking into possible areas of government dialogue, which this embassy and Business Sweden can take forward with along with the government to government level. Can be in the form of a joint working group being set up between both the countries, can be in form of the expert discussion, expert group between both the countries. So the platform will work continuously towards facilitating this kind of a knowledge sharing and capacity building part. But in terms of short term, the very key focus is a very tangible activity that can be done is this kind of introduction of green solutions part. Once we have the brands on board, then and agencies on board, we are very good to start with this kind of a platform and start reaching out to solution providers. If you look a bit into detail into green solutions part, the companies which are here, a couple of them can already relate to the areas which we are able to find out. So in energy, we talked about areas like deployment of renewable energy part, replacement of gas coal-fired boilers with electrical boilers, looking into options to use waste heat coming out of boilers and then using it for say drying purposes or some other purposes, using say variable frequency drives or compressed air system to ensure that the energy consumption is going down. Looking into areas other than definitely looking into areas like power quality or other IoT solutions also is also very much required into this. About when you talk about the green buildings and automation also, there was a requirement of e-mobility solution which came out very clearly from this part. In terms of water, what we managed to find out was the areas like footprint assessment and management is very critical. Having that's the kind of support factories need. Then they need support with knowing about how they can rapidly install recharge green groundwater. ETP was another area which was highlighted by experts also, talking about how we can take care of toxic substances, oil, grease, caustic, other areas. And zero liquid discharge is something one or two suppliers are already compliant, but then we have more than 4,000 suppliers who should be looking into this. And even if we take say 10% of that, we're looking into 400, 500 suppliers who are looking into zero liquid discharge. So I mean the sector is exporting to 150 countries across the world, and EU, US are kind of the major markets for RMG. So sooner or later, all the suppliers have to start looking into these kind of the possibility to reduce their environmental impact. So from that perspective, they'll definitely look for these kind of solutions. And in terms of resourcing and circular economy, as we highlighted, I mean integration of digital technologies into about how do we go about RMG trading and RMG tracking, as well as waste management solution and automatic sorting solutions can definitely be looked into from Sweden. Long term definitely is what we discussed was setting up an expert group and then looking into a lot of areas. This will be a long term process, probably required a lot of government intervention We also had a discussion with BGME, which is the association of all the major manufacturers. They also kind of expressed their interest in being part of the program and working closely. They are running a number of initiatives, but one of these initiatives can definitely is more than welcome from Sweden. They are more than happy to help in start looking into possibilities of reducing CO2 emissions, reducing water usage, and reusing that, and looking into recycled garments. So a lot of work can be done by setting up a dedicated joint working group or an expert panel. So from that perspective, we are now looking into the possible setup, very much in preliminary stage, trying to work out what can be the possible intervention areas. And then we are looking into there might be possibility of setting up dedicated working groups with expert agencies, funding partners, and brands and suppliers. But there will be dedicated executive advisory team and a project management team. This platform will function on a year-by-year plan, setting up priorities and activities for first year, getting approved by the advisory team, and then working towards it. And then we are also working towards finding the possible avenues of funding of this platform. And then Messi and then Business Sweden are discussing with grants now, and then we'll also reach out to agencies also. So a lot of activities. This is kind of a draft timeline which we have kind of introduced as of now. So at this point of time, we are into checking with brands. Some meetings have been set up next week to get a no-go from them, at least a preliminary check. Once we have that in place, then definitely we will kind of start formalizing it, start reaching out to the solution providers to work out the need assessment if solution providers would like to be part of the platform, and how we can connect them to the suppliers in the Bangladeshi side to ensure they start identifying the possible collaboration areas. And then we kind of work towards the long-term areas about minimum requirements and policy discussions also. So leveraging both the advisory part as well as the official part, we are committed towards working closely with all the possible ecosystem partners to ensure that the supply chains are greener, and we are able to support the Bangladeshi suppliers in remain competitive, and helping our brands to comply with their sourcing requirements and the kind of sustainable standards they are setting up. So this was all for today's meeting. I'm open for any questions if we have.
Thank you. Thank you. My God, you have done, your office and your team has done an excellent job. It says, I've taken a couple of notes. First off, from Anders mentioned the best thing that we can do, the sustainable business plan, business model. My God, yeah, that I have to learn it. Then we become best. The second one, your presentation is marvelous. It says that you have come long with your plan. Even for Bangladesh, you really pointed out the major areas.
I think it's as was presented here in the presentation before, there is a lot of focus on the green part. I think one extremely important part of a sustainable business is also taking care of the people in the factories and ensuring that the people on the ground is also getting necessary knowledge and understanding their rights and responsibilities. So I also look forward to see that part of such an expansive program if Swedish companies and organizations are going to meet with all these different stakeholders, which normally takes extremely long time. So I'm fearing the speed of this program, and it's needed now. It's not needed in 1.5 years. So it's I think that's if we do such an expansive program from Sweden's side, we should for sure also include the social sustainability part. I think this is one of the sides that is really taking a hit also during COVID. We see that whatever is done from an environmental perspective is normally kept in factories, even in tougher times when factories are facing tough times in terms of money and other things. What is really taking a hit is the people in the factories. There are so many factories right now running on maybe 40-50% of what they're supposed to, and all of the other people that are supposed to get work there, they're not working. And if they don't even understand their basic rights and responsibilities, then it's there's a big danger of people really hurting in Bangladesh. At the same time, this is one of the markets where you have so many people being born and being ready to work in this segment. So I think I have such a hope for Bangladesh, and living there 2 years myself, I know the possibilities of the country. I think, however, that if we are unable to also show real progress in terms of social sustainability, I think a lot of these other initiatives is going to, be for no good. Because I think looking forward, as there are already solutions out there that can measure the progress of factories and prove transparently that suppliers take responsibility, this should be a standard requirement, especially from Swedish business in a country like Bangladesh. So I look forward to see also social sustainability being part of this ambitious program when we're moving forward. I think it's a key area. I think it's high time that we take care of it. And I think one of the positive sides about COVID is that we're starting to see people being put back in focus, and we're seeing the S in ESG really starting to take off. And we are truly excited about that. And I think it's a sign also that Quizzer, that I joined or founded together with Sophie Nordstrom, that we signed 2 of the global top 10 Fortune 500 companies in the last year, where they say that, we realize that we have challenges in our supply chain. We need to step up in terms of the S. And so I think that this is just an area that has such a massive opportunity. And if we're able to get, for example, BGMEA and BKMEA on board in driving, the ecological side and the chemical side, etc., we should also get the social sustainability on there. We work with over 500 factories. We work with 60 global brands. We have what it takes to scale or the ambitions on social sustainability, and we can create measurable and transparent results. So I think it's something that could be done even on the short-term side. We don't even have to wait long-term. We can start to do something directly, making sure that the factories are already trained on social sustainability, and then we can support them long-term on what they need to be a good partner. So this is my reflection after listening in.
Thank you so much.
I just want to thank all of you for participating today. It's really, really interesting. I think there is a lot of scope for experience sharing and networking here. Just want to re-emphasize or underline the point that was made earlier, because we are a great team Sweden here, consisting of Business Sweden, SBBC, NCCI, and the embassy. And one of us, we can always serve as entry point, and then we will direct you to the relevant party in terms of if you have specific problems or requests. But as you see, the embassy is backed by 3 big, engaged, and knowledgeable entities in their endeavors to broaden the scope of doing business here in Bangladesh. So I think that help can be facilitated. And with that, many thanks from us. Have a good summer, and I will see you again when after summer, hopefully. Thank you.
Stay safe, be safe, and take care. Thank you.